What I'm about to show you has never been revealed publicly before. In the next 60 minutes, you're going to see the exact systems 4 of my clients use to scale their fitness businesses from struggling to over $1 million in annual revenue. Not theory, not fluff, not outdated strategies that worked back in the day. These are the current tactics being implemented right now that are printing money in today's market. Last week, I invited my top performing clients to Dubai, not to celebrate, to extract every single process, system, and strategy that's working in their businesses. I paid $20,000 to rent this yacht. Why? Because what you're about to learn is worth 100x that. Most fitness professionals are working 60 plus hours weekly and still barely clearing $5,000 a month. Meanwhile, these 4 individuals are working less and making more using a client acquisition system that doesn't require fancy equipment, doesn't need a massive following, and doesn't rely solely on paid ads. If you're tired of trading hours for dollars, if you're sick of competing on price, if you want to finally build a fitness business that serves you instead of enslaving you, then what I'm about to show you will completely transform how you approach your business. But first, I need to warn you. The strategies I'm sharing directly threaten the gurus selling outdated information. So if you're watching this right now, consider yourself lucky. Here's what you'll discover in the next few minutes. The exact offer structure that converts to 41%, nearly double the industry average. The 3-step retention system that keeps clients paying for an average of 14 months. The pricing psychology that allows you to charge 3 to 5x your competition. And scalable delivery model that lets you serve more clients with less time. Let's dive in. First up, we have our client Aliaa. When she first came to us, she was making $60,000 a month. Now she's making over $200,000 a month. In her talk, she's going to reveal exactly how she's done this, how she's hired the right team members, and now how she works 15 hours a week while making hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. There's some key takeaways in this that will incrementally improve your business if you execute. So make sure you have a pen and paper ready. Let's get into it.
All right, hi everyone. So in 2024, my business generated $1.85 million in revenue, all while I worked less than 10 hours a week. I didn't just get lucky, but I learned how to build a business that works for me, and I stopped being addicted to working more and to being super ultra productive. So just like show of hands, who here struggles with like procrastination? Okay, who wishes they could get like more shit done, be more productive, things like that? Most of you. Okay, great. Now, unfortunately, I can't really help you with any of that. Like, I'm not here today to teach you some new hack or teach you how to be more productive, because always striving to like do more and work harder than everyone else is part of the problem. Okay, let me explain. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm Arab. I grew up with Arab parents. So from a very, very young age, I was taught that I had to work harder than everyone else. I had to be better than everyone else. So at about like 3 years old, I was exposed to hustle culture, like before social media, before Instagram. And naturally, you know, this idea that I had to study harder, get better grades throughout school. I did all-nighters. Like that was literally where I got all of my self-worth from. And when I built my business, it was the same. I was doing 10, 12-hour days. I was addicted to getting everything ticked off my to-do list. Like I was adding really stupid shit to it, like, you know, tie shoelaces or like make my bed or things like that. And I almost started to like wear my burnout as a badge of honor. Like whenever I hung out with people, I would be like, I'm so busy, I have so much work, I've got all this stuff going on. And I was proud of it. It was like this virtuous thing for me. Like, I'm better than you because I'm working harder than you. And then eventually I broke down. Like I had just hit 3 consecutive PB months in my business. I had just come back from an all-inclusive holiday that I never thought I could afford. And then I looked out the window in my flat in London at the time, and I just burst into tears. Like, I was big sad. Like, I was so upset. My flatmate was confused, and so was I, because all these things that I had that were supposed to make me happier were just making me miserable. And I realized I had started this business to be free, to have freedom. But it turned into like a prison. I was literally trapped by my own business. And I realized something had to change. So I became obsessed with delegation. And so today, I present to you the subtle art of being a lazy fuck. Now, just to be clear, I don't mean that this is just, you know, like rotting away on the sofa all day and doing nothing and making money. No, that's not what I'm going to teach you how to do. But what I am going to teach you how to do is to stop thinking about how can I get more work done, and then start thinking through the lens of like, okay, is this next task that I'm prioritizing going to get me to a point where I can rot on the sofa and make money, okay? So I still stand by the fact that I'm not here to teach how to be more productive. You guys can go watch Aliaa if you want to learn that. But, you know, just to give you guys some context, this is what there we go, oops. This is what my calendar used to look like for like every single week for years on end. And I hated my life. I was miserable. I had over 100 clients myself, doing all the content, all the sales calls. And now my week looks like this. There's literally nothing there. I just had a nail appointment this week, a couple of meetings, and that's literally it. So here are the 7 steps that I took to get my life back over these past few years. Step 1, which I think is really important, is all that admin shit. You should not be doing that. You should get someone else to do that for you because that's not your job. So I delegated all of my admin to an executive assistant. This person in my business started off as a virtual assistant, a VA, who was doing pretty basic tasks, and over time turned into someone who was a bit more of a visionary in the business. So a book that really helped me understand this dynamic a lot better is The Founder and the Force Multiplier. I actually had my EA read this as well. But just to give you guys an idea, like there is a big difference between a VA who will just be very passive, who will wait for you to give them orders and instructions, whereas an EA is someone who will take initiative. They'll be proactive. They will be organizing you. They'll be telling you what you need to do to drive the business forward. And I think finding this person early on in your business so that they can grow with you and grow as the business grows as well is really important. So these are like some of the key differences with like a VA versus an EA. And a very concrete example is nobody here likes replying to client notices, right? But what you should be working on instead of replying to those emails is write some templates out so that someone else can do it for you. And if you guys are getting people who are complaining about they don't want to pay the notice period, they are going to sue you, they're threatening with legal action, I just put my entire brain into a decision tree so that my EA can reply to these emails without having to ask me every single time, this client said this client said that. So when you're delegating, put time and effort into it so it's one and done. You do it once, and then someone else is taking care of it for you for the rest of your life. So some of the basic admin that everybody here should be delegating: finances, like emails, cancellations, managing your inbox, your calendar, reminders, end of day reports. This is some of the basic shit that like instantly needs to be off your plate. And then afterwards, I let my EA really take ownership. Like she redesigned spreadsheets to make them more effective. We had one to track, I think it was like CPM. And she was like, hey, Aliaa, I recreated the entire spreadsheet because it was kind of clunky and this is better. And it was. And she continually does that for me every single time. Whenever I hire a new member of staff, like she makes sure she gets their contracts ready, she gets them signed, she creates new trackers for their clients, for their bonuses. So you want to find that person who is really, really there to support you so you have your time back to be a visionary, like John had said earlier, where you're like thinking about what is going to drive the business forward. So that's the first step, is find an amazing EA who is willing to just write it out with you basically throughout your journey. Now, the second step for me personally is I delegated setting. No one here likes to sit in their DMs for hours and hours. It's really annoying. You have to do it though at the start. You have to get good at booking calls at the start. And then for me personally, I hired someone who didn't have much experience because I wanted them to do it my way. And I took time to teach them how to do it my way. Because I've heard so many people complain, I can't find a good setter. Oh, I hired this person and fired them. They were terrible. They went in my inbox. They didn't do anything. But did you show them? Because even though they came to you fully trained, they're not trained the way you want them to be trained. So you teach them. I recorded a Loom video of myself setting every single day. I shared it with my setter, and then we did Zoom calls every single day for a long time where she was setting and I was correcting her. This took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. But now I don't look at my inbox. It's sorted, it's taken care of, and it's done my way. So I wrote out all these scripts that I want her to be following. I made sure that I've got scenarios for literally every single question possible. And if ever a new question arises in the DMs, they go on ChatGPT. Like, it's really not hard. And a really good app for this is actually called the Boards app, where your team can all have the same logins. You can have multiple saved replies in there. I think Instagram caps you at like 15 saved replies, but on the boards app, it's like unlimited. So it's really, really good to have that app between your team. Next, I hired my first coach. Probably a bit too late. I had like over 100 clients at the time, and I was really, really miserable. Like I could not take it anymore. So I hired my first coach. Something that I wish I had done more was documented my processes a lot more. So right now, wherever you are in your journey, make sure you are documenting literally everything. I like SOPs, but I prefer checklists. Because with checklists, it's an actionable thing that someone can tick things off, and you can also monitor their progress, and they can report back to you on how they're doing. So checklists are great for training up people. And something else when it comes to hiring, whether it's a coach or a setter, any member of staff, is that there's a personality trait or character you want them to embody. Think of it as like behaviors or actions instead of just the trait itself. Because some people will say to me, oh, my coach is really lazy. She doesn't get back to people on time, or she's not detailed. But what does that mean? Like, what does being detailed mean? You have to write out specifically what are these specific actions and behaviors that a person who is detailed would embody. So really make sure that you are honing that in when you're training your members of staff and your coaches. So after this, I stopped taking on clients myself, and most of you guys should too if you already have your first coach. Because the more clients you take on, the more check-ins you have to do, the more calls you have to do, you have less time to grow the business. And just a caveat here, if any of you really love coaching, it's your passion, and you'd rather coach and not scale to a huge business, that's literally fine. I didn't want to do that, and I realized that if I kept coaching myself, I would not be able to grow my business to the extent that I did. So I just hired more coaches. And the more you do this, the better you get at training people up. You're refining that process, and it just gets a lot easier. The first time you hire a coach is going to be very difficult to accept relinquishing that control. But once you do and you realize that your business is still fine, it's doing better than ever, then it gets a lot easier over time. And then I trained my head coach to train new coaches as well. So once I've surpassed 3 coaches, I hired a head coach. And then that head coach took all the meetings, reviewed all the numbers, and was responsible for the performance of the coaches that she oversaw. And then you want to get to a point where you can trust this person with hiring people and training them up. So checklists and timelines are amazing for this. And we did end-of-day reports to track progress. That way I had a sense of how long did it take to train someone up as well. Because even if you get someone who has experience, who's already a trained coach, I want them to do it my way. So I got them to do our in-house training for about 4 weeks each time. And then I finally hired a closer. Now, this is just my opinion, but personally, I think that you should wait as long as possible before hiring someone to take care of your sales. So I waited till the very end, until my calendar looked like this. When you have so many sales calls that you literally want to, like on that Thursday, I had 10. This was January last year. And it was terrible, but when you have this many calls, you're going to attract talent. You're going to attract someone who's actually good, because closers want to have enough calls booked. They want enough lead flow. So if you show them that you have that lead flow and that you have an offer that is converting well, then you're going to hire a lot better talent. So with my closer, this is really important, is you want to be recording all your calls yourself. Recently, I started using Fathom. It's a really good software that records your calls. It does the transcript. It does a summary of your calls as well. And I have all my SOPs, all my scripts, everything in all a big sales Bible with all our payment links, things like that. And then I gave all the non-qualified calls to my closer to start, got her to practice, and then gave her qualified calls afterwards. If your closer comes in and they have an ego and they say, oh, I think I'm good enough, I want to do all the qualified calls, I don't need unqualified leads, get a new closer, because you don't want that attitude in your business. Every offer is so different, and even if your closer has experience closing higher ticket programs than yours, I don't want someone coming in and not listening to me, to be honest. So make sure you give them enough practice, make sure they're doing it your way, and then just relinquish control, and you'd be surprised. At some point, your closer will get better than you, and they'll be closing higher than you eventually, because that's what mine does as well. Role play is very important, by the way. With role play, we used to do section at a time of the script. And then over time, as you watch more and more recordings, you can refine your sales process. Because the more data you have, the more sales calls you have to review. the more you know what works and what doesn't. And now step 7 is assess and refine. So you've got the machine, it's working, it's doing its thing. So my job now is I oversee everything. I'm no longer in the trenches and I have more time to think. I have more time to focus on what needs to be changed and what needs to improve to drive the business forward. So I audit things now. I have KPIs for every department. I want to make sure that all the numbers are where they need to be, and if they're not, I'll just book in a one-to-one with whoever's responsible and put a plan in place. So I live a very peaceful life. Could I be working more and doing more? Like, probably, but to be honest, like I live a really good life, so I'm happy with where I'm at. Now, what I haven't delegated are my ads. I still run my own ads. I don't work with an ads agency. I've heard like negative experiences from other people, so far I've just not done that yet, and I'm still enjoying running my own ads. I don't find it very time consuming or stressful, and I can do it from anywhere in the world. Travel for me is very important, so all the stuff that I haven't delegated is like, I can easily do this from literally anywhere in the world. I still make my own content, but after John's talk today, that's gonna change. You guys will be seeing an AI of me very, very soon. And then I still run meetings with my team. I don't have that many meetings. Like, this is what I do on a weekly basis right now. It's about 6 hours a week. It's like scheduled into my calendar. So I meet with the setting team, with my closer. I review all of her sales calls still. Like, Charlie was asking me, like, have you dropped the ball on your closer? I'm like, no. I still watch and review every single call. I meet with my coaches once a week just to make sure I'm maintaining that relationship. My team is very spread out across the world, so I want to make sure I'm still seeing them every week. I like testing ads and looking at content and things like that, replying to Slack messages, half an hour a week spread out, I would say. And then I actually still have 10 of my own clients. I know I said to stop coaching people. These people have been with me for like 4 years. They're my friends, and I'm like, it takes like an hour and a half a week. I don't mind. So that's me personally. And then on a monthly basis, I do meetings with all the head coaches. I record reels and ads, but that's going to change very soon. Thanks again, John. And then I love looking at my numbers at the end of each month and seeing, okay, what needs to change? What are my targets for the next month as well? So this is what I do on a monthly basis. There may be certain seasons of like the year where I'm working on something new. It might take a bit more time. Fine, I'll work a bit more. But this is just an idea of like, I really don't do that much anymore. And it took me so long to actually not feel guilty for not working, because I used to feel very, very guilty for not always grinding. And don't get me wrong, it took a lot of grinding to get here. But I was grinding on the right things. I was working on the right things, not doing the useless bullshit that kept me stuck for so long. So work is good. Okay, I'm not saying work is bad. I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, like hustle culture is bad, but only if it gets you to where you want to be. So you have to ask yourself, like right now, every single task that you're doing, is it getting you closer to being able to rot on the sofa and do nothing, or not, while still making money, obviously. So this is what worked for me. Obviously, it may or may not work for you. Like, times are changing, things are changing. Maybe what I did doesn't work anymore, but this is how I did it, and I just wanted to share my journey with you guys today. And big caveat, this will only work if you know how to market and sell. Like, if you can't market or sell for shit, this is not gonna work. So special thanks to a few people. Firstly, obviously Charlie, because without you, none of us would be here. So thank you so much. I've learned so much as well over the past couple of years, which has been amazing. I wanted to thank Millie, who's right there, because it's thanks to her that I had the idea of doing this talk. Like, we were at dinner. She's like, what are you doing next week? And I pulled up my calendar and it was like legs, upper, nail appointment. And she was like, do you work? And I was like, not really. I was like, I need to share this. So it was her idea. And then lastly, obviously my boyfriend, Adam, because like, I think just having a supportive partner is so important. He's seen me through the meltdowns, and something he said to me, every time I had a meltdown, he looks at me and he's like, did you think it was gonna be easy? And I was like, fuck, you're right. Like, if it was easy, we'd all be here. And we're not, because it takes work. So embrace the suck. Sometimes it's what you need. And yeah. Thanks, everyone.
So next segment, we have JJ, or Jack Transformations. JJ is one of the leading transformation coaches in the UK. He prides himself on getting world-class results, has very low churn rate, and is one of the best body transformation specialists in the world. He is going to show you exactly how to deliver and create a 5-star coaching service.
So mine's going to be a bit different. I'm going to go through kind of my story of like how I've built the brand today. It is based off reputation, if I'm honest. Like, most of our clients are probably like 70% are referrals or people that have come inbound through like seeing results, basically. So I'm going to take you through kind of my journey of, building the brand, transformations, kind of, the photo shoots that we do, on like a quarterly basis and kind of what we've done so far. So a little bit about my journey to date. So like, here is my story. Like this is actually taken from an Instagram carousel as well. So I left full-time football at 18. So I was like in and out of academies from like 12, 13. Absolutely loved it. But to be honest, I just wasn't good enough. And like when you hear that at like 17, 18, it is very crushing. And I think I carried that through. Like I just felt like I was a failure. Like, that's what took me to university. Literally went out 4 nights a week, having an amazing time in Liverpool. And to be honest, I just got to a point where I put on like 10 kg of body fat, was really overweight, really out of shape. There's baby JJ there, look at him. And like, to be honest, became like really unfulfilled. I was like, I didn't have a clue where to go from this position. And then that's when I found personal training. So literally, I found abs. So like, I owe like my whole career to this company, to be honest. Like, incredible 4 years I spent. Literally, that's me at 18 years old. And like, I was in a position where I didn't really know where to turn. I went into the gym and I said, look, I'm looking for a part-time job. I needed money. And I was like, right, can you help me out? It was like, to be honest, we only hire full-time coaches. Like, we want you to do 45 sessions a week. And this is what changed the game for me. Because like, being told that at like 18, I was like, right, that's actually my decision now, where I want it to be a full-time career, or do I just want to like doss about at uni for like 3 years? So I thought, do you know what? I'll give it a go. And that was like the turning point in my life. Like, that's where I realized like, right, this is what I'm actually meant to do. I actually fell in love with coaching. I'm still in love with it today. I still coach way too many clients. And that's probably why I can't scale as fast. But I truly do love personal training. I dedicated the 3 years. Like, I learned from people like the Muscle Mentors, Phil Lerney. For anyone who kind of knows those, like people in the industry, I'm sure you did probably quite a few courses with them, yeah? So like, just kind of mastered my craft to the highest level, like with like in-person clients. And then like did my first transformation. So like, that's me at 19. So did an 8-week body transformation, lost 10 kilo, did a photo shoot at the gym. And that's kind of where I really kind of fell in love with like physique development, body transformations. And that's kind of like where I started to kind of evolve and become as a coach, really. That's me and grandma, bless her. So I graduated uni in 2020, made the best friends for life. And then COVID happened. So like, that was literally crushing, because I went from like peaking my career, 50 sessions a week personal training, not earning great money. It's probably $2,000 a month, if I'm honest. We got paid like £10 a session at a time. We got charged out at like 70. So the business model for them was insane, but it was like a corporate background, covering like, corporate body transformations. And to be honest, it was a great learning curve, but was never scalable as a business. And that's kind of where I kind of realized that if I'm gonna become a personal trainer to the highest level, I probably need to work for myself. And that's what kind of took me down the route of, right, COVID happened, lost all my income, couldn't coach any clients online. And I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna give it a go online. So that's when like JJ Transformations happened, like 2020, COVID, like I lost all my income. And I literally started marketing myself on social media. Like, had literally, I think 200-300 followers at the time. Started posting transformations. I coached all of my friends, like for pretty much free. Got everyone in really good shape. And all we did in 2020 for summer was I documented my own transformation and my brother's transformation through that summer. We got into really, really good shape, did a photo shoot, and I got all my mates in good shape as well. And that's kind of like what allowed us to, I think in that first 3 months, I got up to like 60, 70 clients, like charging like 70 quid a month, something like that. And that's kind of like where I really started to accelerate business growth. So I moved to Dubai in September 2021 to pursue like the dreams of like building my online coaching business. I actually followed Charlie for like years, saw what he was doing, kind of moving out here as well. And other coaches in the industry, it was like the place to be at the time. It was a big leap because I was 21 here, I think. So quite young, turning 22. Was not in a great financial position, maybe earning like 10K a month at the time. Living in Dubai, it's very expensive, so it's a big risk. But this has literally changed my life forever. Like moving here and coming into a position where there are so many better coaches. It was very overwhelming. Like I had like massive imposter syndrome, massive fear of failure. And honestly, like was really, really scared of growth. But if I hadn't taken that leap in like 2021, like I wouldn't be, the person and the business owner I am today, ultimately. I competed in May 2022 in junior men's physique, placed 3rd. That was great. I realized I wasn't a bodybuilder, I'll be honest. Like, I loved it. I loved the prep. I loved what I went through. I loved what I learned. But that was like a deciding point in my career, was like, I don't really want to pursue bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding anyway. I just wanted to become a great coach. But that experience for me was great because I literally dedicated like 6 months of my life from January to May. I learned a lot about myself, a lot about my discipline. but realized it wasn't really the route I really wanted to go down. Spent 3 months in Marbella, had a great time. That was amazing. Made amazing memories for life, had a great time with the lads. And then kind of rolling on into kind of where we're at today, just to give you a background. So we have just under 300 clients in the business. We have a 4-man coaching team, including myself. We all coach quite high numbers. And we deliver body transformations. That's what I've always been building since day one is I wanted to provide the ultimate system for body transformation. So when people see my results, it's Jesus Christ, that is a sick result. And that's what I think personal training for me has always been about. It's been about, taking somebody from where they are now to where they don't think is possible. I think that's what our mission and our true purpose is. Maybe not for every coach if you're not specific body transformation, but even if it is health or it's some other form of niche, you are ultimately taking somebody through a transformation. And that's kind of what we are as coaches, right? We're life changers. And that's what I think a lot of us got into this reason for. Obviously the money's great and the businesses are great, but if you can find your true purpose, I think that's what it's all about for me. Lots of fun in Ibiza again, in between friends. So I think this is one thing I always say to a lot of people is it's all good work, right? But if you run yourself into the ground without having the partying or having the great time, what's it all for? I'm still best mates with all my mates from back home. I still go out every summer to Ibiza with them, have an amazing time. Have too much of a good time sometimes. But I think it's good to have that balance. I think I've been in a position where I've literally just become unfulfilled from pushing results and coaching 7 days a week, and it does become very unfulfilling. So if you're in a position right now where you're feeling a little bit burnt out, a bit run down, don't be scared to take a holiday. Honestly, it'll do you the world of good, I promise you. I got asked to speak at 3 public speaker events last year, so that was really, that was something I've never done before. Another one today. Was honoured, for the people that were asking me. I had a great mindset coach in TMP. I've had multiple mentors across the year that have honestly changed my life, and I truly love this, guys. I truly love, helping people go to the next level. Bought my car on my vision board. That was a special moment for me this year, something I ticked off. Not something I've always wanted to do, but as I've progressed through, you have to reward yourself as well at the same time. And that's something that I'm really, really proud of. And then the mission now really is just to continue making even more impact and to truly build a community. I think if we can, what I always say to people is yes, the ads are great, the leads are great, but if you can make more clients from your current clients, you have a super profitable business. And that's what I think we should all strive towards is, if Instagram disappeared tomorrow, how long could your business last for? I think that's the true measure of a business is if you can have massive impact and massive scalability from your current client base, you'll never need to really market again. And that's what I'm really big on is to my lads that I coach, so I've got Jarv, Jed, Billy, I was I want you getting 3, 4, 5 referrals a month. Every month, lads. That is the standard that we want. So what would I tell myself, my younger self, at the start of my journey? So probably a few things and the kind of lessons that I've really learned since starting my journey have been a few things. So the first one is become a world-class coach. If somebody can recognize your results as literally life-changing, I'll point this guy out here. So Ryan came to me at 155 kilograms and literally told me he was depressed, was unconfident, was really unhappy, was literally to a point, he was 25 years old as well, so he's not even that old, carrying 155 kilograms at 6'3". That's not healthy. In this picture here, literally 13 months down the line, we did a photo shoot, he's 95 kilograms. He's taken off 60 kilos. That's literally life-changing. And I think often we don't realize the impact we genuinely have on our clients' lives, guys. If you take somebody from massively overweight, to a position where they're healthy, you are probably adding 10 years to their life, honestly. And that's the true power of coaching. I think a lot of people bypass this step now of becoming a great coach and leading from the front. So if you are in a position, right, where you feel what, I want to become a better coach, just do it. Don't forget to learn your craft, study to the highest level because it will pay dividends in your results, your referrals, your retention in the long term. I guarantee it. The second one is walk the walk. So I think obviously this is a given, right? You have to be in shape. You have to be a role model to your clients. If your clients would look to you and for inspiration, that is the biggest marketing standpoint, in my opinion, that we should really strive for. So every single year, whether it's a marathon, whether it's a photo shoot prep, whether it's a competition, always challenge yourself because I think that the periods I was actually speaking to Mark about this today, when you have a goal in mind, that has a massive impact on business. When you can take somebody through a journey of what you're going through, whether that's a prep, an event, a competition, people really buy into your journey and your brand. And I think if people can demonstrate when you go through that, people resonate with it massively. And literally, you are who you say you are, right? If you are a transformation coach like me, I have to be able to get into world-class shape. If you are a weight loss coach, you're going to have to be lean year-round, realistically. Business is relationships, so you never know who's watching. I think that's what I took from JP's talk massively, was how we show up, when people aren't watching is probably massive. The energy you put out into the universe is what you attract. When your clients are watching, when your clients are not, how you get out of bed in the morning, you getting that up on the first thing. It's people will honestly see you for who you are, just randomly on a random occasion. So, just think about how you communicate, how you come across to people, because it's literally the weirdest times that I've had the biggest leap in my career is when I've helped somebody out of the good of my heart. They've returned to me. I've got one client in India, I think he's had 21 referrals. I met up with him twice in Dubai, did a photo shoot. He's invited me to his house in India. It's incredible. And that's the further you go with your clients in terms of building relationships and being genuine and coming across as an authentic version of yourself, that will result in more business, honestly. The illusion of success. Don't get me wrong, guys, I am an emotional roller coaster. Half of the year I am. I'm up and I'm down, and business is never a linear success. And you'll have moments where you feel absolutely incredible, but you'll feel like you're a failure a lot of time. That's something you're always going to have to go through as a business owner, as a coach. Your clients are always going to leave. You are going to have client complaints, but you need to be able to become emotionally resilient and really master your emotions, because if you don't do that, you are literally putting yourself into emotional turmoil, and you won't be able to respond to situations, to your current clients, on sales calls, to your team, right? When you are emotionally erratic, your team will see that. And to be honest, that leads into my next point. We have to be an inspiring leader to your team, because what Aliaa said, she's the leader for her team too. They look up to her for what she's done. It's the same with you guys. If you have a team, treat them as you would need to be treated. Your culture that you create in the business is absolutely imperative, to your team's performance, but also the culture and how it feels, because it's all good making money and having success, but if it doesn't feel good when you're doing it and you're working with people you don't like, it's not going to be a fulfilling thing. So for all my team as well, my coaches are my mates, my brothers now. Do you know what I mean? We're going to go away this summer. We're going to have a holiday. We're going to enjoy ourselves together. And I think that's what I want to try and create really as a brand and as a community, with a bit more depth to it. The money's amazing, of course, at this stage, but it's the results that you have, the impact, the freedom that you can create from doing it is absolutely incredible. Service is everything as well. My goal this year, which is a big effort, is 5% churn. So, if we can keep our client, realistically, I'm said to the lads at 10 to 12 months, ideally for every single one of our clients, that's the gold standard. I've got 2 coaches doing it now. One needs pulling up. Mine's a little bit over that with the amount I've got as well with what I'm doing. But service is everything. If everyone was to take your leads away from you, how long could you sustain your current revenue for? That's a big game changer, because all you then need to do is you need to master the lead gen, master the ads, and then look at the scalability that you will have on the back end. Environment. So one thing that I've always tried to do is surround yourself with winners, or surround yourself with people on the same level of energy as you. It's all you guys, we're all in this together, right? We all want to grow. We all want to succeed. Some of you might be in an environment like I was probably at uni, where there wasn't much of an environment. Everyone was drinking, taking drugs. Sure, some of you have come from similar backgrounds. Get yourself around people who want to see you win, want to see you succeed. That could be where you live. It could be the friends that you have around. It could be who you spend the time around. Honestly, your environment is absolutely crucial. I think this is massively overlooked. So don't forget to always assess your environment, how you can improve, how are you showing up, who are you spending your time around. And these are the little things that will have a big difference. And then never stop investing in yourself. It will always give a 10x return in whatever you do, whether that's business coaching, whether that's mindset coaching. You will always see an infinite return in who you become. So the way I see it now, guys, is if you can build yourself a skill set, how valuable could you become? In a room of individuals, whether that's your topic, whether that's fitness, whether that's business, how can you give as much value to that person in the conversation as possible? That's what I think, when I spoke to Charlie when I first signed up, for example, the amount of free value he gave me, that's what got me over the line. It's probably the same with your clients as well. When they're on a sales call, if you can give them loads of free value where they realize, do you know what? You're the guy for me. That's kind of what you need to do. And don't ever stop investing in yourself, because it will always, always, always give you a 10x return. And then making this switch as well, this is something, guys, honestly, that I really struggled to do because at heart, I am a personal trainer. I always will be. This is something I'm really coming to terms with. Like we have now closer to 300. I need to come out of coaching. And it's something that I'm really, really struggling to come to terms with just because I enjoy it. I've had my clients like 3 years and I'm trying to not take any more on. But as I scale the business now, the bottleneck is now me. And it is like, I can't, do all the sales calls. I can't do all the coaching. I can't do whatever it is in terms of managing setters because you will burn out. So the switch that I'm still making and I'm still working on it myself is to hire more coaches, which we're going to get another one on in the next kind of few weeks. It's to really get me out of the business so I can be that CEO. And that's why kind of I joined Charlie, was to help me get out of fulfillment, build a sick team, and then ultimately make as much impact and ultimately have a little bit more freedom for sure. And then enjoy it, guys. We have honestly the best job in the world. I'm sure you would agree. Like if you step back now and you look at where you were like 5 years ago, like look at where you are now and look how far you've come. Like I truly believe we have the best job in the world. So, be grateful for where you are and ultimately just keep striving for growth going forwards. And that is my talk.
So one of the main things people want is to charge higher price points, get executive clients, yet everyone's fishing in the same pond. Now, the talk we're about to have from Chris Ashford, who's actually part of our 7-figure scaling systems team, he is going to reveal to you the exact strategies in terms of how you can make serious money on LinkedIn, selling high-ticket coaching programs to the highest level people in the entire world. So he's going to go through the entire strategy and exactly how he's crushing this with his own story strategy in his own business and how he's implementing this in with clients that we work with.
Okay, right, so I'm going to talk to you about LinkedIn today. And LinkedIn is a bit of a difficult platform for many people. Put your hands up here if you've looked at LinkedIn and thought, that looks really complex. Yeah? And you kind of want to do it, you think, my leads are going to be there. And it is kind of a mystery. A lot of people think that it's just a blue version of Instagram, and it's really not the case. There's two things really that Charlie says, he's not in here now, that solve problems. Money and people. LinkedIn is where you get the people.
Great job. Love that you like
What
that.
one thing do you think, maybe shout it out, gets you clients over the person sat next to you?
Yeah.
What one thing is it?
Like
we can all pretty much do the same thing, but what thing is it? JJ alluded to it in his talk. Say again? Best known, yeah, which otherwise could be known as being, yes, influential, okay? Having influence. Having influence in your life can lead to many more things. Now, LinkedIn for me isn't just about getting more clients, better leads, of course. It's about expanding my influence. Where can I speak? Who can I speak to? Which communities can I get involved in? How can people hear my message? How can people understand what I do? A bit like John Lee said, building brands is something that's incredibly important to growing and scaling to a high level. And so LinkedIn, whilst it may seem a mystery, you need to understand how to use it and exactly the frame of mind you need when you go into it. And I'm going to walk you through a few things towards the end of this presentation that you can take away to when you're posting on LinkedIn. But I want to show you the power of LinkedIn. I'm going to tell you a story that starts and ends with LinkedIn that took 3 years. But before I get into that, into my story, everyone in this room has a story to tell. Is anyone here under 23? There's a couple of people under 23. And you might think, I speak to people, everyone in this business, pretty much I've spoken to. And some people, I say in an onboarding call, if you've been in an onboarding call with me, tell me a little bit about yourself. I don't care about your business. I just want to know about you. And everyone's a bit taken aback. Why do you want to know about me? But you are your business. Your influence is the thing that's going to spread your message around for longer, further, get the better quality clients, create the community, create the retention, grow your business. All right? And you've probably got a story that you can tell people that will interest people. And that's what LinkedIn is about. LinkedIn is about the people. It's about the story that you can tell. And it's about how you can encapsulate people, your audience, your specific audience, into engaging with you, commenting on your stuff, DMing you. I don't ask people for calls anymore on LinkedIn. They ask me for calls. Chris, can I have a call with you next week? Yeah, sure. They book me in their diaries, not the other way around. And that's what you need to do. So I'm going to tell you a story now that starts and ends with LinkedIn. Maybe one of the things I'm most proud of in my life. And if I didn't have LinkedIn, I wouldn't have been able to do this. This story, for those of you that don't know, I was in the army for 9 years, retired a captain in 2021. I was a coach from 2019. This guy here is a guy that I met in Afghanistan many years ago. He's also one of the only people to have ever pulled a pistol out on me and then have a selfie with me years later. But that's another story. In 2021, just 6 weeks after I left the army, I had a phone call. And this phone call was from Afghanistan. I was like, that's a bit odd, isn't it? I really get phone calls from there too often. But the situation in the news was that the Taliban had encircled Kabul, and it looked like they had a couple of weeks until they were going to, sort of take control again. So it was a little bit hairy. Having spent some time out there, I was reflecting about on the work that I did and whether it was even worth it. And at this point, I was introspecting. I was thinking, well, I just spent 9 years of my life doing this. I left it 6 weeks ago. I was then working a job earning 6 figures, very, very busy. And I took this phone call in the workday, and it was this guy, Zamir Shams, his name is. And he said, Captain Chris. He was pretty much one of the only guys that I didn't need to use an interpreter for. And he told me that his life was in danger, as I knew well was true. And he said he needed help. Chris, can you get me out of the country? Absolutely not. What can I do? I'm not in the army anymore. I'm in a job. I'm really, really busy. And I've no idea what to do. But I put the phone down and said, look, leave it with me. I'll see what I can do. I knew that there were some government schemes happening. I knew there were some things for interpreters, people that worked for the military, okay, so that they could come over. But this guy was just an Afghan soldier, all right? And I say just an Afghan soldier. He wasn't qualified. And it was a shame. His son was 2 weeks older than my son at the time, who was 8 weeks old. And so that sort of sat with me a little bit as a father. I thought, I feel for this guy. He's there in a war zone. So I took to LinkedIn, and this is where LinkedIn comes into this. I had a network of people from the military, and I wondered, could anyone help me? Who's working in this headquarters? Who's working in MOD main building in London? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? And I sent a bunch of messages out. I put a post out, okay? I need some help. And in that time, I was contacted by a number of people, a number of really, really influential people. And with that message, with that post, I managed to get in touch with someone who I'd never met before through the network, because someone had shared my post, someone had liked my post, something like that. And my second-degree connections saw it, okay? Hugely important. This is what LinkedIn is about. And I managed to get on the phone, get an application form, and sort of weasel my way, and I lied. I said that this guy worked for us. And because I wanted to get him out. And I used my own personal judgment, rightly or wrongly, and I don't regret it, to lie about this and say this person was directly working for us. I got him a case number. But they said he has to get to the airport himself. Another whole kettle of fish. So I spent the next sort of 48 hours glued to my phone. And I was looking at maps, I was speaking to people, and I basically said, what I need you to do is I need you to go to this sort of gate. I had some recollection and memory of the ground. But I said, I need you to go to this gate. They can help you. I knew the British forces were there. I needed him to see the British forces, not the Americans, because his application was British. He tells me that he's there. He sends me a photo. I wish I had the photo here, but it's just chaos at the walls. If any of you ever followed the news, current affairs. And then he said, Chris, I'm going to get in. I'll speak to you later. It was nighttime in the UK. I fell asleep. I woke up to, honestly, like 30 missed calls, and my heart sank. I looked at the news, and there was a suicide bomb, and it killed a lot of people, and it was in the vicinity of the area that I sent him to. Clearly, I was a little bit upset. I told this guy and his family, his wife, his newborn son, to go to this gate, and there'd been an explosion. And another 24 hours passes, and I didn't hear from him. So I was worried. I woke up the next morning, and he told me, Chris, I'm in Rome. You're in Rome? What? He said, yeah, there was chaos, and I ran onto the last plane, and it took me to Italy. All right? They just let people on at this point, anyone who was in the airport. I was like, fantastic. That's really good news. Fast forward 3 years. He was in Rome. He learned Italian. Great, props to him. Okay, did a degree remotely, really good stuff. Gave back to the society there, but he was somewhere in Rome. It wasn't good for him. And I wanted him to move over to the UK. So I helped him get his visas, so on and so forth. That was a bit of a process. Again, speaking to the people that I sort of connected with on LinkedIn. He got his visas, and he came over to one of those, you've probably heard of these asylum hotels that are there, so I'm one of the contributors, but this guy absolutely deserves this place. And I met up with him. This was only about 6 weeks ago. The last time I saw him was in Kabul. It was very, very surreal seeing him in the sort of this environment. And he had his wife, he had his son, who was obviously a lot older now, and he had his daughter as well, who'd since been born. And it was quite a moment. It was incredibly emotional and difficult to process a few weeks ago. So I put this post up on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn as well. He knows the power of the network. And this was my most viral post to date. So it's got 187,000 impressions, 3,173. I tend to go viral every now and again anyway, but never that amount of likes. That's quite good. Made 5 figures off this in a day, right, straight away. It got me invited to a company to do public speaking, to talk about the story, which pays well, as I'm sure some of you know who have done that before. I've got a tender out for a corporate contract to help people with their health and well-being in the workplace. And so this one post could be quite lucrative, okay? I don't really care about the money from that post because this is more important to me. But I told a story. I sent a message out and it got to my audience, to my network, because I connect with military people. I train people in special forces. I've trained people in MI6. I trained some pretty cool people across the world, and that helps expand my reach, all right? I wasn't special force. I wasn't anyone cool. I was just a normal guy in the army. So this is LinkedIn, and that's the power. That story is one of many examples of how I share my message around the world. And you don't need to have this story to make this happen. You just need to have a story. And in fact, I've told my story many times, loads of different stories here, loads of different bits of impressions. Okay, yeah, 19,000, it's not huge. 136 likes, it's pretty good for LinkedIn. It gets you sales calls, it gets you clients, it gets you the right people. It gets you the people that come in and want to drop 3K on your program straight away, all right, without hesitation. I'm closing calls, I said to Aidan the other day, I did one in 9 minutes, okay, because these people know me, they see me. Great to meet you in person, finally, okay, because I'm posting 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, consistently, and I'm posting a story. They don't care how to do the bicep curl correctly. They don't care what food to eat. If you treat Instagram, LinkedIn, like a blue Instagram, then you're not going to be successful on the platform, all right? And there's lots of detail we can go into. If you just get me on a one-to-one call, I'll walk you through it. And again, some of these posts, they're not all, this one here is a picture of shots on a bar. Again, that 672 likes, 5 figures off that post. All right, there are some more fitness-related ones, okay? But they talk about specific things. There's images that might resonate with certain people, okay? There's things that will sort of pick out my audience, and then there's those celebratory ones, and then there's the fitness ones, all right? There is a place. You need to tell people what you do, of course. And we do that by coming up with keywords. Now, if you were on my live training last week, I think it was, or the week before, I spoke about keywords. You only need 10 words. If you repeat these 10 words in all of your posts, your 10 words, then your audience will see them. You need to figure out what these are first, and that's the hardest thing. Who is your audience? What are your keywords? And you just pop them in the first 2 lines, and that's it. Military, army, longevity, skill, these kind of things that are going to get there. A number of you came up with your keywords as well. Performance. Someone came up with some really good ones, like, I can't remember who it was, but really, really business-related ones that resonate with their audience in the financial market. Abdul, works with guys on oil rigs, absolutely killing it on LinkedIn now. Okay, as a result, the engagement's skyrocketing up, starting to generate sales and money off the platform because he's doing the right things. Okay, so come up with your 10 keywords that are going to resonate with audience. And I don't care, it's not nutrition, it's not like happiness, it's things that are actually relevant to your audience. That's what matters, that's what we care about. I took this slide out because it was about AI, and John basically just completely poo-pooed that and made a really good job of it. So what I would have said would have been completely disinteresting, to be frank. So what do you need to do? You need to connect with those people, industry thought leaders, okay? There are people within your client base, okay, who do something for your client base that are thought leaders in that. You're just plugging and playing into what they do, all right? I've got a guy who does like mindset training for ex-military guys. We share about 20 of the same clients. They go on his mindset course, they come on my fitness course, so on and so forth, back and forth. But there's loads of examples. I've been through a few of these before with a lot of you about those thought leaders in your industry. You plug and play with them, okay, and literally connect with them two-way, comment on their stuff, they'll comment on your stuff. Your audiences, before you know it, become completely integrated. Okay, so engage with them, connect with them, work with them, network with them. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be in Bristol in the UK at a networking event, a LinkedIn networking event. I'm going to meet all these people face to face. I did it last March, okay, getting sales on the day, all right? So when you post, It needs to be relevant. God, again, bicep curls. This is how you do your bicep curl. Doesn't matter. No one cares about it on LinkedIn. It's for Instagram only. Use your keywords. Tell a story. Start conversations with people. Okay, anyone who, this is classic lead generation now, start conversations, but do something that's going to elicit a bit of emotion. All right, even if I talk about fitness, I might talk about, I did one post once, it was, this is how long you should be able to balance on one leg for if you're this age, this age, this age, this age. And everyone was coming up and, oh, well, I can do it for longer. And people arguing with each other in the post and, all sorts of stuff. Do something that's going to get people to talk. Comments are way more powerful than likes on LinkedIn. Okay, if you get people to talk, the platform sees you as a thought leader, and then every day I get a notification. Chris, we want you to contribute to this article. Chris, we want you to contribute to this article. Okay? 300 people a year get awarded a special badge by LinkedIn, and I'm gunning for it. And if I get it, that'd be great. Right, final thing. The RATCHET method. I completely made this up just before my live call the other week. But this is what I think you should do when it comes to posting on LinkedIn. All right? Comment on some recent posts that are on the wall. Very basic, sort of classic stuff going on here. Add value. Show that you're a thought leader in what they're doing. I don't know, someone put something up about psychology and how to be better at work or whatever. Just comment on and give your viewpoint, yeah? Teach others. When you're posting, I want you to be teaching people things, okay? Not how to do a bicep curl, but teaching them how to integrate their life, their performance into a health and well-being context, okay? Commend and celebrate. There was a picture there of me with my MBA. Again, people lap it up. You can self-celebrate on LinkedIn. It's not egotistical, so just do it. If you just got a 100K plaque, whack it up. People will love it. Hit a reaction on another couple of posts before, 3 or 4, just to sort of warm up the account. Engage with 3 and 5 of them, and then try different accounts each time. So you've got your thought leaders that might post, okay? And then you've got another couple of people that you might try. So you might have someone doing something else. You might have someone talking about retirement planning, pension planning, and stuff like that. Just comment on there and try and suck a bit of that audience in as well, okay? Super basic stuff, but you have to do this every single post to try and get those people in. So what do you get from this talk? Understand how to use LinkedIn. It's not Instagram. It's a platform where we need to extend our influence, okay? Off some of these posts, I've got more opportunity that I think is going to get me more revenue than my coaching itself, okay? Which is quite an exciting prospect, okay? Over the years, I've managed to get corporate deals that sort of 4 or 5 weeks, 25, 30K. Okay, you can get that kind of stuff off LinkedIn because the right people see it, the decision makers see it, and then they like you because you've got a good level of influence on a platform. And it's very, very simple thereafter. I truly believe that 90% of people can do this, if not 100. You just got to figure out what your story is and start expanding your influence as quickly as possible. Any questions?
Now for the final segment of the talk, we have Reece. Reece is one of our clients, again, who we've scaled from around 20 to 30K a month to doing over $75,000 per month in his business. He's going to talk about the importance of having the right niche and his actual targeting strategy he's using a VSL funnel, which is actually overbooking him in terms of calls that are qualified with people who are desperate to buy his products and service by using a unique offer and a unique guarantee.
Hello. I know it's quite late. Everyone's probably pretty fucking knackered, so I'll try and breeze through this as fast as I can. But November last year, we were doing everything through Instagram. I've always been a big believer in finding something that works and just running with it, and not trying to get shiny object syndrome and chase too many rabbits. You chase your rabbits, you catch none. But I've been seeing this strategy that I know you guys do as well. You follow a lot of people that are doing really big things in the industry, and I see this strategy that all of these big names are doing, and it was this VSL strategy, and I thought, look, it might not take too long. I could end up running into a brick wall, but I'm going to give this thing a go. So I implemented a strategy. I know Dom's doing something very similar and crushing it, and it's, for us, completely changed the game. So this VSL alone that I'm going to run you through has booked us over 200 calls over the last 8 weeks. It's had 2,500 plus people click apply after watching the video. They go through a bit of a type form disqualification. So obviously out of a lot of them get disqualified. And we're jumping on a call with very qualified leads, and we've booked over 200 in the last 2 months onto actual sales calls, and the show up percentage has been quite high. So what is it? In simple ways, it's a scripted video secretly selling the fuck out your program. People download it. It gives a lot of value, but it's secretly selling the living fuck out your program. So in the next, hopefully 15 minutes, I'm gonna go through the 10 stages of scripting this VSL and how we've done it. 'Cause there's different ways you can do it, but this is just what I found's work best for us, our niche, and our clients' pain points. How to make it sell like hotcakes, page optimization, and then when and where to push this VSL. So stage one's gonna be the introduction. Now for us, it was just as simple as I'm Name, founder of Name, known for XYZ, and then an insert guarantee. So for me, it's I'm Reece, founder of Smart Body Performance, known for helping women get bikini body toned or they don't pay. So straight away, women who want to get bikini body toned are like, oh my God, I don't pay? I get it, or I don't pay, what? So I'm getting them in straight away. Then in the next X amount of minutes, I'll show you how we've helped X amount of people go from X to Y. So as an example, in the next 9 minutes, I'll show you how we've helped over 1,300 women go from soft, podgy, and unconfident to walking on the beach and getting photos with their kids without worrying, right? Whatever that is for you in your industry. Then stage two, you disqualify. So automatically, when you disqualify people, the people who are a good fit think, oh my God, this is perfect for me. I don't apply to that. They're straight away thinking, right, this is made for me. So we'll go, if you're not a woman who, despite previous failed attempts, is open to seeking a new opportunity that will guarantee, in our case, you getting bikini body toned, or you don't pay, then what I'm about to show you is not for you. So if you're not a woman looking for a new opportunity to find this ain't for you. Straight away, I'm disqualifying people who aren't gonna be a good fit. And then this program is insert authority. So whatever it may be for you. This program is a highly specialist one-on-one women's coaching program, optimizing your hormones and metabolism, whatever it is for you, right? And then in the video edit, you have loads and loads of social proof pop up at this time. So within the first 20 seconds, you said who it's for, you said who it's not for, you showed the guarantee, and they're bought in straight away and they're thinking, I'm waiting these next 9 minutes to find out what the fuck this guy's got to say. Stage three, you'll go through 3 client traits. So this is where we'll go, as an example, our clients are driven in their career, but they feel like their fitness is the last missing piece of the puzzle. They're trying to push for promotions and improve relationships and unwavering confidence. And you give an example, but there'll be 3 different traits. Our clients are mothers who want to go on holiday with their kids and feel confident without hiding in photos and having no memories to look back on in 20 years' time. Whatever that is for you and your niche. Then stage 3, you sell the dream. So you're going to give 3 outcomes. So if you want to walk into a room, oozing confidence, turning heads, and making your family proud, you could be a good fit. So you're not saying you are going to be a good fit, you could be a good fit. So they're thinking, okay, what's the con that might make me realize if I definitely am a good fit or not? So you go through 3 traits or 3 outcomes that's going to come of it. Then stage 4, why you? Right? So what we will say on this VSL is, look, you're probably watching this and you're thinking, there's thousands of fitness guys on the internet that does the exact same thing. Why the hell should I listen to you? Like, why are you different to the 15 other people I've seen or the 20 videos I've watched or the 15 programs I've tried? So then you'll go through your authority. So I'll go, why listen to us out of the 1,500 million other fucking personal trainers? So we've got 1,300 plus client transformations. We've only ever received 5 stars on Trustpilot. We've got 200 plus video testimonials. We've been in Forbes magazine and Apple News. And we're just listing off authority. And then if you have a strong, powerful why behind what you do, insert it here. So I'll say, look, for me, I got into the industry because I grew up watching my mom struggle with fad diets, Slimming World, Weight Watchers, Herbalife. And I started my education to find a solution for her because she was struggling. I wanted to find a way to help her transform. And when she got her spring and her step, I realized, well, there must be loads of women in the same boat as my mom. So then that's where on here, I would explain that. So they started to realize and find out a little bit more about me and why I do this thing. Then I would usually introduce here a really soft call to action. So here's where I would kind of go, there's 5 phases that women like you must go through if you want to go from podgy and confident to beach body toned. And in a moment, you're about to hear what that is. So you're just going to really tease that you've got a unique mechanism coming. I don't know if anyone's at the last event. I know Ryan Fisher spoke about it, but if you don't have a unique mechanism, get one now. This is your method and what's unique to you. So you're saying, in a moment, I'm going to show you the 5 phases that our women go through to transform and why you need this too. And then you just have a soft call to action. But look, if you've heard enough already and you think you're in, click the link below and you can kind of go through the next stages, right? Then you introduce the unique mechanism. Make it sound sexy, but not overcomplicated. Some people always go, oh yeah, you got my big 4,000 fucking metabolism optimizer, booster, accelerator, 4.4. It's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, don't overcomplicate it. So for us, we'll go through our unique 5-phase result system. Phase 1, design and dominate. Recon for self-mastery. Customization, the body sprint and reward phase. So we'll go through what our phases are, why it's unique to us, and how it helps our women optimize hormones, metabolism, and energy to transform and get photos with their kids. Then we go through specific social proof. You've shared social proof, but you haven't made it specific. So here's where we'll say, take one of my clients, Megan, for example. She had PCOS, an underactive thyroid. She had to have insulin stabilization jabs in. She go to personal trainers, never see results. She went to nutritionists, never see results. But she saw a video just like the one you're watching now and thought, I'll give this one last try. She slashed 27 pounds in 13 weeks. She realized she don't have a broken body and now finally has her spring back in her step. And you'll just have 3 similar ones. So we'll have a client of ours, Paula, that had a chronic illness in her liver that she lost a mother to. Her doctor said she had years left to live. She lost 110 pounds of us and now is clearing her chronic illness in her liver and has been told by a doctor she could have a future again. So we'll go through these examples on this VSL and we'll give 3. Because if you bore them to death, they'll switch off. Then you'll highlight previous failed attempts. So this is where I'd go, look, by this point, you've already tried influencer apps. You've already tried Slimming World. You've already tried Weight Watchers. You've bought a Peloton and it's done fuck all. Like, you've tried all of these different things. So then we're gonna go, our clients tried the same thing. Take Becky, she tried Slimming World. Now she came with us 10 years later, wishing she'd done it 10 years earlier. We'll give a couple of examples and show them relatability. And then we'll go through a big call to action. So this one, you kind of go to town with it, right? So here's where we'll basically talk about our win-win scenario. So we'll revert back to the guarantee. So look, you're a female on this page, they're skeptical. I get it. We've had loads of women in the same boat. So we've taken the risk away. You're guaranteed to get bikini body toned or you do not pay. Straight away they think, okay, great, that's great. So then we'll say, look, step 1, now you finish this video. Step 2, click below and see if you qualify for the program. And if you do, you can apply to find out more. So that's like the 10 stages of the script. Then you have to optimize the actual page itself. And like I said at the beginning, at one point I was worried, am I getting distracted? Is this shiny object syndrome? It took me 90 minutes to make. Worst case scenario, if it don't fucking work, you've maybe lost 90 minutes. Does everyone have 90 minutes maybe at some point in the next 7 days? Well, then you're qualified to create a VSL. So what you want to create is, you'll notice this is all above the fold. So you need to optimize your page for a phone. 80% of people that will click onto your VSL, they'll be doing it from a phone, not a computer. So you'll notice I have at the very top my guarantee, get toned or don't pay. Then I have the headline, learn how 1,200 plus women use our 5-phase result system to transform forever, or to achieve fat loss forever. Then step 1, watch a full 8-minute video to see if you qualify. The video is 11 minutes, but it sounds too long. Then below it says apply here, and step 2, click apply to see, or to start your quick one-to-one coaching application. As I said, we've had over 2,500 people click apply now in the last 8 weeks. Obviously, a lot of them get disqualified, so we booked just over 200 calls in the last 8 weeks from it, but 2,500 people, or like 2.6K, have clicked apply, and then they've just been disqualified throughout their application. So the people getting on the call, they are qualified. Then when and where to push your VSL. So it's all well and good having one, but it's like, okay, great, like what the fuck do I do with it, right? So number 1, we put it in our bio, because it's an explanation video on exactly how our program works. Number 2, we have a couple of affiliates on the program. Couple of women I coach for free. In return, they share my shit everywhere. So if they have people coming to them and going, this sounds great, I need some help, they just send them over the VSL. Maybe not the most productive way to do it, but it's the most time efficient way to do it, so I just get them to send that out. Then we use it as a lead magnet. So in our organic content, we might say, as an example, we get to the end of a reel, if you want to learn more about our 5-phase result system that can help you achieve X, Y, Z, comment tone and we'll send you over a video explaining how it works. So this VSL we use as a lead magnet because they're still getting tons of value from it. They're still going to come away. So like one of our ads that we run with it is like, you go onto the video, either You don't like what you see about working with us, but you still walk away with crystal clear clarity on where to start with your journey. Best case scenario, you might want to apply. It's a win-win, right? So then we use it in lead magnets because it gives a lot of value. In the DMs, I found, and this is probably counterintuitive to what most people would find, but it's just what we found personally, we have more trust with people that watch the DMs than even when we have a conversation with them. It's 9 minutes of me hammering pain points and selling the fuck out of a program. At the end of this video, they're so warm. In my experience that I found, I know Dom's mentioned he found something similar. So in the DMs, if someone's giving us like one-word answers and we think they're a good fit, I'm not too sure, but they're not really giving us much, we'll send them the VSL. And then 9 times out of 10, we're getting fucking paragraphs. Sometimes we regret it's a ball ache. But we get so much more because now they trust us again. Because at the time, we're just another internet on another program on the internet saying we're the best thing since sliced bread. And at the time, they're like, yeah, so is every other person in my DMs. So every other ad I've seen. Because my audience, women 30 plus, they're targeted by ads from Ozempic and Slim and Wild. So they're thinking, what's different? So they watch this video and they go, oh shit, this is completely different, right? We also send it if anyone's a logistical decision maker. You know, if people are like, oh yeah, I'm only gonna get on a call if I know exactly how this thing works. Cool, go watch this video, right? We also do it in emails. Again, maybe not the most productive way, but I was letting leads slip through the cracks in emails because if I had a keyword for them to reply to, I didn't have setters in my email, so they were slipping through the cracks. I weren't really replying to them. So yeah, you might not want to put links in your emails, but for me, I was losing leads in email, so I just leave it as a link there, just so people don't really slip through the cracks. Ads, we're only running a cheap retarget ad to it. We're gonna up our spend considerably because it's working so well for us personally. But the ad is so simple. Our highest performing ad is shit. Such a shit ad, but it's working, right? So it's just selfie filmed sitting on my chair in my office, and I'm just a really conversation tone. So I'm not like high pitch, low pitch. I'm imagining that I'm speaking to this person at the bar. If I'm speaking at the bar, I'm not gonna go, so you're gonna come go to our program and look at this video, and they're gonna be like, fuck, who's this guy? So it's so low tone and just conversation. So I'm just like, hey, you've already seen a couple of, and I put some purposeful stutters in there as well. You've already come across my page over the last, I guess, 7 or so days, and you're probably thinking, who are we, what do we do? And that's kind of like my tonality with it. So I make a bold promise, I give some social proof, 2 reasons why women don't transform. So if I remember correctly, the first one is they think it's too good to be true, and I explain why it's not. And the other one is they don't believe they can actually achieve it, and then I show them social proof. Then I explain how it's a free video. We give them our women transformations, so just kind of, again, a couple more examples. Bold statement, CTA, and a ton of compelling B-roll. And if anybody wants to copy mine, if there is any ladies in the room wanting to get bikini body toned or they don't pay, you can hit apply after if you like. But you can watch mine. Look, full transparency. I took the best ones I found on the internet. I broke down the scripts of maybe 5 different VSLs for some of the best, businesses in the industry. I broke each one down, took the best parts from each one, put it into my niche and my specific language, and then built that into my script. So if you want to see mine, you're more than welcome to click the link in my bio. And yeah, any questions?
So from these 4 talks, we had a competition to see who gave the most value. Drop in the comments who you think was the best of the 4. What we actually did is we gave $1,000 in cash to the winner, who was actually Aliaa Morez, who won the competition. So she got $1,000 given to her actually in dirhams. Now from this talk, there is loads of things you can take and implement into your business. And if you're in a position right now that you want to try and scale and you don't know what to do and how to do it, what I would suggest you do is you book in a free business audit with us. We will break down exactly where you are with your business, where you want to go, what's currently holding you back, and what's the one thing you need to get to the right place with your business that's going to give you time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, just like these 4 clients have. So if you hit the link below this video, you can book in a free call to find exactly how we can help you. If you took value from this, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop any questions in the comments, share this with a friend, and we'll see you next video very soon.